Hey guys, Motorcar Nut here, and today we're going to be replacing a crankshaft sensor, crankshaft position sensor. Looks like this on a 2007 to 2011 Jeep Wrangler or Wrangler Limited. The Limited just means it's a 4-door with a 3.8 liter engine. All right, the sensor is on the passenger side in the bell housing. Right here. I already replaced it. All right, so it's very simple to do. You just take, let me just zoom it in a little. All right, you just take the clip off. Basically, it's in the bell housing like this. There's a little tang here, over here. Put a screwdriver there, pick it up, and slide it off. You have a 10mm bolt right there. That's like right here, and it just slides right out. There's nothing. Now, a couple of things, I'm gonna go over it. When you replace it, you always replace it. I mean, I'm a fan of aftermarket parts, don't get me wrong, but this is like considered a critical engine part to me, because if this fails, all right, you're gonna be stranded no matter where you are. So you want, even the factory ones can fail, but the cheap aftermarket ones, like I wouldn't get an aftermarket one to do this job. And this is a Mopar one. I have the part number. It's about $100. You can get it online. You go to the dealer. The part number is right over here. It's 0502 9811AD. All right, this part number right here. That is for this sensor. Do not get an aftermarket one, because I had nothing but problems with the aftermarket crank sensors or cam sensors. They're a little bit pricey, but you know what? You replace it once, and you hopefully you're good for another 100,000 miles. So what was happening with this truck and typical crank sensor issues is long start cranking. So what that means is that when you crank the engine, right, and you let go of the key, the car's still cranking. And the reason why it's doing that, because it can't see the signal. So it keeps cranking and cranking until it sees the signal, so it can start, because it doesn't know what position the crankshaft is in, to give it fuel and give it spark. So that's the first telltale sign, right? Then you shut it off, you start it again, and it may start right up, and you go, maybe the key was stuck. But that's not the case. So now you're running and driving, you may get misfire codes, because a lot of times when the crankshaft signal drops and the car keeps cranking by itself, it loses the correlation between the crankshaft and the camshaft. And why that's important, because if it's not in line and the computer doesn't know exactly where the camshaft and crankshaft is, you're going to get misfiring codes. And that's what happened with this one. After it started, it had a check engine light on, then the check engine light went off. Then it had a stability light on. Now, the stability light is basically anytime the engine is not running right, it's going to throw, it's going to interfere with all the other body control modules, and it may put up calls. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. In this car, it did. So, and then I was driving it, and I felt it misfiring. And then I would let go of the gas, and it wouldn't misfire, and then it would misfire again. The check engine light was blinking. When the check engine light is blinking, that means you got a serious misfiring code that can damage the catalytic converters. All right, and especially on this car, they're brand new. Well, they're kind of new. Everything is new. You don't want to do that. So what you do, it's very simple to put this in. Same way, you just put it in, tighten the 10mm bolt. You can do 89 inch-pounds if you want, 90 inch-pounds. Snug it up. Put the plug back, and that part is done. But now you have to also realize I put a bracket here, because I don't know if this car had a bracket before. I don't know, but this whole harness is flapping in the wind, and I don't like the idea of that flapping such a critical part that can maybe bend and break the wires. Who knows? But sometimes, I would say about 40% of the times, it's not the sensor, it's the plug. Like you see this little area. This one goes to the knock sensor over here. Well, that's the knock sensor over here. This one, I'm sorry, goes to the O2 sensor here, right? But over here in this little harness over here, it can get corroded and get like rock hard and get that green, corrosion. And that could be an intermittent problem. That can give you the same type of symptoms because it's connected to the crank sensor. So you want to make sure that it's all good. Over here you have, yes, you could do it with a scope. I'm not going to do it with a scope because you guys don't know, most of you guys don't have a scope. So what good is it, right? So I'm trying to, sometimes you need these tools. This one, you probably don't if you just go by the symptoms I'm telling you, all right? So if it checks out good, you have your ground, you have your power, and the other signals of reference, 5 volt, you should be okay. All right, and it's probably just the bad sensor. Now, if you look over here, factory one I put in, it has numbers on it. It has numbers here, and it has that little barcode, that little barcode. So you know it's a factory one. The one that I took out, all right, this one looks like it's aftermarket. Now, I bought this Jeep. This is my Jeep. I bought it used, so I don't know, who put this in, but this is not a factory one. It has no markings on it. It has no numbers on it, nothing. And it was running good for a couple of years, but I don't know if this is a really good quality aftermarket one, but it's definitely not factory, all right, which I assumed it was. So, again, replace it with a factory one. It's $120, bite the bullet. You get that, it's done, you won't have to do it again. Now, you may be looking like, whoa, why has he got the fender off? Well, you don't have to take the fender off. I did because of filming it, and plus the exhaust is in the way. You could get it from on the bottom. You don't have to take the fender off. Okay, you could get it on the bottom, but it's hard for me to film. So I took the fender off. If you want to take the fender off, you have to be prepared. There's clips here. All right, they're gonna break. When you take them out, I'll show you them over here. All right, they're all broken. They're gonna break. So you want to get these on Amazon. They're cheap. You get a pack, a whole bunch of them. They go over here. They're right here. They just come in, go off, and they just slide on like that. You make sure you have them all again. And it has, how many? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 6 10mm bolts. When you put the fender back on, all right, you're gonna have one over here. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and there's 6 bolts, and then the rest of it just pushes on, and you put the light back on for the side marker. It's not that hard to do. It gives you a lot of clear room, especially if you're doing this type of job. You can do it nice and easy. All right, you can check. So it's up to you. You don't have to do it. No, you don't. But it's easier this way, unless you don't want to take the fender off. That's your choice. I put this bracket here. Your car may have some kind of a bracket, but I didn't like this whole harness just jiggling and jiggling and jiggling and jiggling. After a while with the heat, I didn't like that. So I just get this little bracket, put it on the engine, the transmission bolt right here, and made a little bracket. Probably going to replace those plastic ones with metal zip ties. So when this gets hot, it doesn't melt it or whatever. All right. So now, and another thing is when you take the crank sensor out, there's a reluctor ring. All right. You got to make sure that reluctor ring is not damaged. You can get a little inspection mirror. Put the little inspection mirror over here. Look inside the hole. You're going to see a metal with holes in it. And what you can do is you can get a 15mm socket, all right? You see the crankshaft? Yeah, let's see the crankshaft. The bolt is a 15mm. You turn it clockwise. So you turn it as you're looking where the sensor is. You take the sensor out, you look, and you see the reluctor ring. Make sure the reluctor ring is not scratched up, gouged, or chunks of metal missing, because that could be a problem. All right, I've seen that before. A lot of times when these cars go off-road, rocks and stuff can get inside there. It's rare, but it can happen. All right, if yours never really went off-road, then you probably don't have nothing to worry about in that aspect. All right, that's just something else to check. And if you take the fender off, it's a little easier to do, but that's up to you. So now, I gave you the symptoms of what was happening, the misfiring, the long crank time. Sometimes when that sensor fails, the car's just going to crank and not start at all. So I had made it home. I was about 20 miles away, and I did make it home. It was misfiring. I was trying my best not to make a misfire. I didn't want to kill the catalytic converters I just put in. But so far, I think it's okay. It starts up. It has no misfires. Now, before we do that, before I jump ahead, another thing you're going to have to do, what I did, when I put that cam sensor in there, it still had the misfiring. So I'm saying, okay, so it lost the signal. So when I put the new one in, now you have to have the cam and the crank correlated together. And they have to match now. And you're going to need a scan tool for that. So whatever type of scan tool you're going to use, you got to use one, a good quality one, like a Launch or an Autel, that can do the cam syncing with the crankshaft. It's a simple procedure. You hit the button, it does it about 4 or 5 minutes. It idles a little higher. It's done. You start it up. There was no misfiring, and everything was good to go. So basically, that's how you change the sensor, and any kind of the misfiring and symptoms it has. And like I said, this is it's a little tricky one because sometimes that sensor can just fail on you and leave you stranded, and you don't want that. That's why I'm saying you get the Motorcraft best. I think that's Motorcraft. Sometimes they have all different. This is a factory one. Chrysler Jeep. I guess it was. It was Mopar. I mean Mopar. So Motorcraft. Motorcraft is Ford. Anyway, and that's how you do it. All right, guys. Motorcar Nut. Please subscribe, hit that like button. Any question pertaining to the video, leave them below. I answer all my questions. Any suggestions of future videos, drop them on the comments. And I really appreciate all the comments and everything I'm getting. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.